Shalom, we're here in Krakow, Poland, covering the events of the March of the Living, the peak of events, of course, tomorrow in the Auschwitz-Birkenau death camps. But here is an important initiative of the March of the Living, a conference of youths. Basically, in the March of the Living, they understood that thousands of youths take part in the March of the Living. The question is, what do they do the next stage, when they go home? And here, they're talking about what you do from what you learned here in Poland when you go home, and the goal, of course, is fighting anti-Semitism and racism.
For the hundreds and thousands of people that have participated on the March of the Living, I would argue their greatest asset is the alumni. Something that at different stages in time we've leveraged, and other times perhaps not as much as we potentially could. So we've invited 21 alumni from around the world, leaders in their community, who were endorsed and recommended by their community, to spend 4 days having some significant and important conversations about how to combat racism, anti-Semitism, and intolerance, and how they can go back to their communities and activate leaders and other alumni from the program to be strong voices against the things that are taking place in the world today.
We're here to learn about the history, and we have been doing that, and it's extremely important that we continue to remember our history. But we're not here because of our history, we're here despite our history. And we're here to understand the present and shape the future. As young people, it's the future that we're going to be leading, and it's the future that we're going to be living in, and we have a right and an important voice, and the most important voice in shaping that future. And I think that's what is vital, learning from our history and using that to shape our future and to shape the world in which we wish to live in and see.
The main message is we need to face reality. We need to understand the world we're living, and we as young, we need to understand that if we don't take our responsibility and fight back anti-Semitism, nobody will do it for us. Time has changed, and anti-Semitism is something that is emerging everywhere.
We're seeing it kind of all across the political spectrum, from the far left to the far right, the rise in the far right from our Brexit discourse when Britain's leaving the EU really fueled the far right narrative in our country. But also on the far left, we're seeing kind of in our Labour Party, in our official party of opposition, we're seeing it being infested at the moment with anti-Semitism, right from the local grassroots level all the way up to the top in the leadership.
We are obliged to fight back, and we are obliged to fight back even if there's no anti-Semitic acts, because the best way to actually fight anti-Semitism is to prevent it. It's to engage with people. It's to prevent racism. It's to show people that we, as Jews, we care. That we care about them, that we care about the well-being of the world, the well-being of the citizens, and the well-being of the universe.
Everyone here has been on March of the Living before. So it's a very interesting perspective that everyone is kind of coming from and learning from each other from. But what I'm learning here, I'm on this program that I'm on, the International March of the Living Emerging Leaders program, is that it's fascinating to be with people and emerging leaders from all across the globe, and learning from people from America to Australia, Latin America to Europe. It's fascinating to hear about the experiences, our differences, but also our commonalities in how we fight and how we take on this hatred that affects us all and affects all of our communities, and how we come together and how we shape the future and fight.
What is their message from here after they see the concentration camps, the death camps, the ruins, of course?
So I think that their message is they're all coming for the second time. And a great educationist, Parker Palmer, said that when you put on new lenses, you see things that would otherwise be invisible. So they're looking at Auschwitz through a different set of lenses this time, and they're seeing the enormous potential that the lessons that they have here and what they experience here, how those can impact significantly the way that they activate and advocate for indecencies that are taking place all over the world.